Howdy, folks. How you guys doing? I'm live from Jerome, Arizona. It's Thunder Mesa Studio. How's everyone doing this evening? Can you hear me? Does it sound okay? Just pardon me while I rearrange the furniture. Hi, Jim. Thanks for showing up. Sound is wonderful? Good. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. 5x5, loud and clear. Yay, it started. Nice. Thanks for those of you who are waiting. I noticed I put a notice on Facebook, and I noticed about 2.5 hours ago, that it said that the live stream is starting at 5. And my only excuse is I've been working a lot and I'm really tired. So I put in 1,700 hours instead of the correct time, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock Pacific time. 7 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock out there on the West Coast, 7 p.m. here in beautiful Jerome, Arizona. A little breezy, a little chillier than it's been the past few days. Hope it's nice wherever you guys are. Yes, working. It's, you know, I have a great job, but it's like working. Let me tell you, right now you're going to be seeing like a video every 5 days for the rest of the month of April. Usually I do like one a week, but now it's like every 5 days just to get things done on the Gruesome Gulch layout right there behind me. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there's the skull right there. Yeah, it's going to be like every 5 days. I've got them all charted out, and if I can keep up with that schedule, it will be done in time for Riverside. And I want to mention again, somebody asked me earlier, if you want the particulars on the open house in Riverside, you need to contact Gary Beatty. He runs the Puerto Borracho Railway. He's got a channel here on YouTube. You can find it down at the bottom of my page. It has the other featured channels. You can find Puerto Borracho. Click on over to that. Contact Gary. Tell him you'd like to come and see the show, and he will give you the particulars. But it's in a private residence, so I can't really like publicly give it out all over the internet as much as I would like to. I'd like to see how many people would actually show up at Gary's house. Let's see. The deadline is beneficial to you. It's beneficial to me too. You know, I've been a freelancer all my life, and I've always had deadlines, and I've always had to work within deadlines. And I find if I don't have a deadline, I tend to, you know, kind of take my time on things. So I give myself a deadline every week. It's you know, like one video a week. I try to do one video, and that usually means one project. So my ultimate goal, well, my minimal goal, I should say, is 52 videos a year, which I think I nailed it last year more than that, and we'll do that this year too. So far so good. The latest video just came out today, which was the Cadaver Caverns with the rock work and the bridges and the lighting and all that. That was a lot of fun to do. It's all starting to come together now. But I gotta let you guys on a little secret. I don't know if you all remember, I had a little, here, let me grab it. Be right back. Don't go away. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Little show and tell. I had spent the week working on the thing, and it was all ready to go. And you know, on the top loop, I have the porter with the 2 coaches, and on the lower loop, I have this guy, which is the great little Bachmann rail truck, which I picked up on eBay with a Keep Alive in it. Sounds great, ran great, new gearing, all that stuff. Well, guess what? When I went to shoot the beauty shots at the end of the video that show, hey, the project's all done, and here's what it looks like, and you know, here's some spooky music, and I shouldn't have numbered it number 13 because it absolutely refused to run. It sounds like it's got a slipped gear somehow. And the problem is, I don't have time to fix it. I don't have time to take that thing apart. With the schedule of other projects I have now, between now and the end of the month, I don't have time to dig into the guts of this thing and see if I can fix it before the open house. So I frantically went out and bought another Porter off of eBay, and I was just breaking it in a little bit earlier. So this one I'll probably bring it with, but it probably won't be running at the show. So that's a shame. It's a bummer. Yeah, but you know, I was like, oh, no. Yeah, Gary might laugh it off, Colleen, not so much. That is true, Jim. Yes, deadlines are very motivational. And even though they're self-imposed, you know, I give myself self-imposed deadlines. Like, I'm going to get this much done in this amount of time. Like, I'm going to get this thing done by the end of this month, or the first few days in May. I've given myself up to May 3rd. You know, it motivates me to get it done. And it's not just, I give myself a deadline, and I get disappointed in myself if I don't meet it. And I don't want to disappoint, you know, people who are watching. And the Gruesome Gulch series has been very, very popular, and I was kind of surprised by that. You know, I thought most people tuned in to see the Old West Thunder Mesa thing, but the Gruesome Gulch, the total fantasy thing, the total, you know, I mean, Thunder Mesa is a fantasy too, but Gruesome Gulch, total fantasy. You know, somebody described it perfectly as Calico Mountain meets the Haunted Mansion, which is a great. That's the elevator pitch. You know, that's a great short description for it. But total fantasy, and people were really into it, and I really seem to enjoy it. So hey, you know, that's great. On that front, hello, greetings. The type on YouTube is really small. I cannot ever see everybody's name. Sean, you're scrambling on the Wandering Spruce. Yay, you know, Sean, the pictures I've seen looks fantastic, and your shades run so nicely. See, that's where you get it. You get. It's no fun if they don't run, right? So you spend a lot of time, you know, on the gears and tuning those things up and getting them to run nicely. And yeah, and some of the models, the structures you've been doing are really nice. It's very, very impressed. Very nice stuff. Yeah. So what else is going on? It's a pleasant break. Stephen Whitaker, if you do one project a week and one video a week, how long does it typically take to finish? I'm going to move this closer so my old man eyes can see. How long does it usually take to finish the project versus finish the video? Here's my typical work day. I'll get here. I like to get here by 9. I often get here around 10. And then I'll work. I can do creative stuff solid for 4 to 5 hours. And then after that, I'm just like, bleh. I could do this, you know, I can chat, do other things. But as far as, you know, creative thinking and problem solving and making models and doing tiny little things with my hands, after about 4 or 5 hours, I can't do it anymore. So I go home, and the whole time I'm filming while I do that, so then I go home at about 3 or 4 o'clock, and then I edit that footage from the day up until dinner time. So the video is being made in real time as I'm doing the project. And, you know, but I usually have to cut down. So say it's 5 days, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 hours of work down into a half-hour video. So there's a lot of editing that goes on. And I know I can't always put everything in the video. So yeah, the video takes, you know, I do it at the same time when I'm doing the build. So it's hard to separate the two and say, you know, how long the video takes. So that, you know, I edit for like 1 or 2 hours a day after the model building is done. If that answers your question, I hope. So yeah, it's, hey, I'm working really hard, but I'm having a great time. This is the most fun I've ever had, you know, so I'm having a great time. Let's see, any other questions there before we The V&T hat. Yes, this was given to me, Virginian Truckee, silver short line. This was given to me by Don Backen, who's who I don't know if he still is, was a fan of the show and a conductor on the Virginian Truckee. He sent me this hat along with some other very nice gifts, which was really kind of him. So I like to wear it whenever I can. It's a handsome chapeau. Let's see. What else we got? Justin Gagne. Everyone gets excited about spooky. Plus, I think it's all the cork roadbed sniffers toner. That's not prototypical. Hey, that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to do the Gruesome Gulch, because it's like, yeah, it's not prototypical. No one can ding me and say, hey, that's not the way a real haunted railroad would do it. Though there are a few every now and then. It's like, the video on the mine build recently, I did the El Dorado mine, which I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And at the very beginning of the video, I say, this structure is small and caricatured like the rest of the structures in Gruesome. The whole thing is a caricature. It's like Disneyland. It's a caricature. Everything's a little bit smaller than scale. It's a show. There's set pieces. It's all stagecraft and, smoke and mirrors. It's a magic trick. The whole thing is a magic trick. So, comment I get is, the mine's a little small. Really? Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. But I can't complain. I have the best viewers on YouTube. You guys are the best. Fantastic engagement and, very complimentary of my work. And I try not to believe all of the nice things you guys say about me. Because as a wise man once said, if you believe all the nice things people say about you, but you have to believe all the bad things people say about you too. So try not to do that. But thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. I really appreciate it. Tonight's topic, and I want to apologize at the top of the video if I can't get to everybody's questions. I can't always see everything on the screen over here. For some reason, YouTube they don't use old man font, so it's like I gotta squint. If you see me doing that, I'm trying to read what you guys said. The posted topic for tonight's video is sourcing materials. And, I got to thinking about this because I'm constantly asked, where do you get this, or where do you get that, or how do I find this, or how do I find that? And as someone who lives out in the sticks like I do, I've had to become kind of an expert on, finding stuff that because there's no local hobby store. There's not even a non-local hobby store. There's just no hobby store. We used to have one over in Prescott. It's gone. There's one way down in Deer Valley in Phoenix, which doesn't carry much stuff other than HO. So, yeah, it's... So I had to become kind of an expert on finding stuff online. I can use the heck out of Google, So I want to talk a little about that. Those of you who live in metropolitan areas, Southern California, where there's lots of hobby shops. There's still some really nice ones down there in the greater Los Angeles area. You're very lucky. We don't have that out here. In a lot of the country, a lot of rural parts of the country, we don't have that at all. So I just wanted to go through a few things, and these are all things that are listed on my website. If you go to thundermesa.studio and click on the Model Railroad tab, it's right up at the top. Actually, you hover over it with the mouse, a little drop-down menu, and at the bottom of that drop-down menu, you'll see useful links. So all of the things I'm going to mention can be found, rather than me going, hey, go to www, and you're trying to write it down. Just go, to the website after the live stream's over, and you can find these things on there. This is the stuff that I use all the time, that I source, people have turned me on to, or I found myself, and I'm just going to go through them. The design software I use for designing my stuff for the laser is Adobe Illustrator. Of course, that's available from adobe.com. My laser is a Flux Beambox Pro, which I got from Matter Hackers. It's a fine machine. It's a 50-watt CO2 laser, which I really love. Now down to the nitty-gritty, basswood and plywood and stuff like that. Sheet stuff I'm talking. And I did a little short video on this on laser cutting materials. National Balsa is a great source for that stuff, for basswood and plywood sheets. So check them out. Laser board, you hear me talk about that a lot. Polybag, acrylic, MDF, company called Encompass Media, and once again, that link is over my website. Scale Lumber, Northeastern Scale Lumber, Canadian company. I get my stuff from them, and if I can't find it from them, I get it from Fast Tracks, which carries Mount Albert Scale Lumber. The polyurethane carving foam you see me use all the time, that comes from Amazon. Detail parts and figures, figures are great. Aspen Modeling Company has some of the finest sculpted Western figures that you can find. Old West figures from Knuckle Duster Miniatures. Detail parts from Weissman Model Services. I get a lot of stuff. Really nice white metal castings from them. A lot of detail parts and wagons from Berkshire Valley Models. I feel like I'm droning on and on here. Stop me if you've heard this one. Grant Line details. You can get Grant Line details from the San Juan Model Company now. San Juan Car Company has expanded the San Juan Model Company, and they've taken over the old Grant Line line of styrene detail parts, so you can get them from them. And again, all of those links are on my website. And if you guys have great sources for stuff, put it down below, because a lot of being a model railroader now has become, with the implosion of the local hobby shop, it's become a scavenger hunt. Where can you find it? Who can you get it from? Let's see. One thing I don't have on here is somebody asked earlier before we went live about. Thank you, Jim. Thunder Mesa Dot Studio. Dot Studio. There's a dot there. Somebody asked about track. All of the track on the Thunder Mesa layout is Pico ON30. And all of the track on Gruesome Gulch is Micro Engineering ON30. The Micro Engineering ON30 I got off of eBay before it became really scarce. The Pico ON30, there's a company called Hatton's Model Railways, and it's a UK company. And they have all of the British stuff, the OO gauge and all the Pico stuff. They carry all the Pico track and stuff like that. They have it in stock. If you can't find it anyplace else, you can't find it here in the States, check out Hatton's Model Railways. Great people, great service, and they will not charge you an arm and a leg for international shipping, which is rare. Let's see what's going on over here. Coronado Hobbies for narrow gauge. Yes, very good. Hobby Lobby has good scale lumber. Yep. Russ's Rockano Railroad says here, if you're going to survive as a hobby shop, you have to do it as a hobby. It can't be your only income. Yeah, that's for sure. Same with the model kit business. If you're going to be, wholesaling. Another one I would really highly recommend is the Narrow Gauge Modeling Company. It's an online store. Kevin Mackomer's Narrow Gauge Modeling Company. He's always finding, cool, unique stuff. It's just everything narrow gauge. It's dedicated to narrow gauge, which is really cool. So all kinds of unique kits, parts, and hard to find details at the Narrow Gauge Modeling Company. Here's a good one. Like I said, I just got a Porter off of eBay, and I paid too much for it because I was in a panic. I gotta get another. I have to have something that runs. And fortunately, I just tested it out. It runs. Conversions for HO to ON30. The three main guys, as far as I'm concerned, are the Cumberland shops, 3D printing conversion kits, parts and tenders, railway recollections, which you can find on eBay and Facebook, resin kits in ON30 and ON18, which I'm often asked about. Kits and detail parts for O-scale narrow gauge, the Lambert Locomotive Works. So all three of those guys are definitely worth checking out. If you can take an easy to find Bachmann 060 in HO and convert it to a really nice, good running ON30 locomotive. These are you guys you go to for that. Oh, I'm going to check. Frisch's Hobbies, yes. Mountain Blue Model Company, yeah. These are all great. Josh says there's a hobby shop in Southern California that carries Pico ON30 and ON18 track, and it's in stock all the time. Which hobby shop is this, Josh? Oh, Frisch's Hobby. You answered it right down below. Is there anyone you could recommend? Steamwood Grove. Anyone you could recommend on YouTube that models for Lionel O gauge? God, I wish I could remember the name. There was a channel I was following. It was all like post-war Lionel. Just amazing, all the great sets and stuff. I can't remember it. I'll try when I get home. I'll find it and I'll put the link down below. I don't know if the channel's still active anymore, and I don't know if modeling is the accurate word. It's more like collecting and running is what they were doing. Let's see what else I misplaced. Hobby Lobby, yeah, another vote for Hobby Lobby with basswood, balsa wood, styrene. Steve MD77, hobby shops are going away. I've been trying to figure out how to open one. The shops I go to have no supply. I often wonder how they stay in business. That's a really good question. How do they stay in business? Yeah, the supply chain is really tough for a hobby shop. So, because you see, most like model kit makers, I mean, outside the big suppliers and the big kit makers or the Walders, most are little mom and pop or just, a couple of guys that decided that, hey, I would like to have this part for my own model railroad or this structure, so I'm going to, make kits of it. Yeah, it's really hard to source that stuff, and the lead time from companies like Walders is ridiculous, and their wholesale isn't that great. So, yeah, it's a tough gig. You got to do it because you love it. I mean, that's no question about it. Let's see. Uh-oh. Oh, no. My gimbal just died. You witnessed the death of my gimbal. Did you see that? But I'm still here. I'm still alive. Hang on. I got, we'll improvise. As I tell my kids often, adapt, improvise, overcome. There we go. See? Hardly a glitch. Yeah, I didn't charge it. The battery died on it. It's a nice gimbal, though. So, take that out of play for the moment. DK Austin, it said that buying direct is cheaper. That's often the case, and has been for a while. Buying online is cheaper. A lot of deep discounters. I'm like crooked now. Hang on. Is that better? Okay. It's making my eye twitch when it's crooked like that. Yeah, and and big suppliers that would supply the hobby shops, who will remain nameless, were very slow to adapt to that. This $400 locomotive comes out. That's the suggested retail is $400. You can find it online for $300. The big hobby suppliers are selling it. You can only sell it for $400. Do the math. people are, I mean, as loyal as we want to be to the local hobby shop, we probably want to save $100 more. Excuse me while I take a drink. So they were slow to adapt to that, and that's one of the reasons that a lot of hobby shops went away. Because the big ticket items, you know, your locomotives, right? Yeah, people can get them cheaper online, delivered to their front door. They're kind of gonna do that. Hobbygenic says, "Hey folks, if you are enjoying the stream, remember to smack that like button. Smack it. You don't have to smack it. You can gently caress it. That's fine." Thank you for that very much. Raging Dolphins Maniac Dave, where do you get the fonts that you use? I source them all over the place. That's a good question. That's not one that comes up. It's kind of a nerdy graphic design question. Fonts, for those of you who are not well versed in the world of graphic design, fonts are typefaces that you see, and I make a lot of signs for my stuff. I'm a graphic artist by trade. Been doing it for a long time. There's a website called 101 Free Fonts. I think it's 101. Maybe it's 1001. But you can find it. Just Google free fonts. Go in there, and there's a whole bunch of them. And they've got a nice search features. You can filter down to time periods by decade. You know, so you want 1890s fonts. They've got them. And these are all usually made by other graphic designers or font designers that upload them. And there's no license, or the license is very, reasonable. And so you can go and get them there. Some I buy, very few I buy. Most of them I get for free off of sites like that are just created by other designers, open source for all of us to use, which is really nice that they do that. So yeah, free fonts. There's a couple other sites like that. Sometimes they'll have you sign up. You gotta, put your email in and stuff like that, and then they'll spam you. But, you get the free fonts. So. Let's see. What other questions we got? Howdy once again, everybody. Thanks for all showing up tonight. I appreciate it. I know it's, those of you who are following The Mandalorian, that's on tonight. So my wife's like, what, I got to wait until after your live stream? Yeah, I said, yeah, and you can't watch it without me. Let's see. Yeah, D.L. Hemingway says, on eBay, I usually search for buy it now as I hate bidding wars. Me too. Yeah, I just tell me what you want. Sometimes I'll make an offer, or you watch it and they send you an offer, and it goes back and forth a couple of times. But yeah, that's one way to find stuff. Yeah, seeing a lot of Southern California hobby shops mentioned. There's still a lot of them there, but there's a lot of people in California, so they have a much better, larger customer base. Yeah, Jazo and Boulder Creek. Jazo, I hope I pronounced that right. Jazo and Boulder Creek Railroad, cool name. Says there are some great ON30 parts and kits available from Shapeways. Yeah, that's true. Mostly I've gotten some ON18 stuff from them. Marsh Creek Miniatures is one of my favorite for ON30 stuff. Check them out on there. They've got some cool stuff. Yeah, slight overkill for a stationary tripod. You're right. This is the one I shoot with all the time, and it just happened to be sitting right here. Let's see. I'm glad it was here, though. Steve MD77, I'm glad to see Jason Jensen making new structures. Hopefully he does great with his venture and gives the big guys a run for their money. You know, I hope so too. I wish Jason all of the good fortune in the world. And I spoke to him just the other day, in fact, and we talked about the model kit business a little bit. And he is very busy. He's a one-man shop. So he's doing all he can. It keeps him. I mean, between his YouTube channel and the kits, the guy is running all the time. He's busier, as my grandpa used to say, busier than a one-legged man at an ass-kicking contest. Oops, sorry, this is a family-friendly channel. Butt-kicking contest. Sorry about that. You can bleep that out, right? Justin Gagne, I'm a big fan of Font Squirrel. Yeah, that's another good one. Curated by designers where 1,001 fonts are that's true. There's a lot of, the signal to noise ratio on 1,001 fonts, thank you for correcting me, it is 1,001, not 101, is high. You really got to spend some time digging through the dross to separate the wheat from the chaff, to totally torture a metaphor, to find the good fonts. Yeah, you're right. Font Squirrel, yeah, that's a good one that is curated by designers. Very good point. Raging Dolphin Management, most free fonts are bad. Again, signal to noise ratio. You got to know what you're looking for. Yeah, a lot of them are bad or, limited. So, yeah. God, what's the guy's name? The Big Thunder font that I use was designed by a fella, and I actually bought that font. Oh, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Old timers. Google Big Thunder font if you want to find that one, and it's a beautifully designed font, and he's got a whole set of dingbats to go with it. In fact, the dingbats are free. Dingbats to the uninitiated are the little graphic flourishes and blots and things like that that go with the font, which are not actually part of the alphabet, but complement it. Yeah, the dingbats, I think they used to be free, and but the font he charges for it, and it's a beautiful font, very highly recommended. Let's see what else. Dale Hemingway, for a Halloween scene on my KRNS, I have an O-scale werewolf I'm going to use for a Dogman sighting scene. I have an O-scale werewolf too that I picked up from Mini Prints. I just haven't painted him yet, and I haven't decided where he's going to live. He's going to be up somewhere high up, howling, because he's howling at the moon. That'll be cool. Hey, Sam Toller is here. Oh, sorry, I outed you. Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland is here. Speaking of fonts, what's your go-to for custom decal paper? You mean the inkjet print at home kind? Micromark. I haven't found any that's any better than that. Norbert Rowe. This is a great question because I haven't decided yet. Are the Gruesome Gulch open-air excursion car passengers alive or dead? Well, so far, they're invisible because I haven't installed them yet. They are... hang on. One more show and tell. Just a second. Here they are right here. This is a pack of like, I don't know, 100 figures I got off of eBay for dirt cheap. They're from China, and the funny thing is they're all painted to look Chinese. So they all, I'm gonna have to repaint all of them because they all have the same hair color and everything. How do you make them look scared without it looking stupid? Big eyes. I'll probably just give them a quick once-over paint job and stick them in there. So they're going to be actual living people on an excursion because Gruesome Gulch is really a ride. It's a dark ride. That's the way I've always thought about it. in my head. It was the original concept was for a dark ride, and so the whole thing is kind of based on the fact that it's a ride. So yeah, it's Calico Mountain meets Haunted Mansion, and yeah, so they'll be alive, I think, but they'll be terrified. Good question. Live Steam one. Don't forget to Google items you want for great prices. Yeah, I've said that earlier, is that I've become an expert in Google. Google is your friend. You have to know how to do a search, but once you figure it out, you can find all kinds of great prices on stuff and hard to find items. Let's see. That's it. Thank you. TC Simi. David Occhino Design. Occhino. That is the guy with the big thunder font. You are correct. That's his name. Check him out. Yes, several people chimed in with the name. Thank you for coming up with that when my mind went blank. All of you. Let's see. Those Gruesome Gulch excursion cars. I'm going to build, I love them too, thank you. I'm going to build some more for the Thunder Mesa layout. I'm going to tweak the design a little bit so they're not as, gothic and spooky. Make them a little bit more Disney. And of course the color scheme will be different. So I'm going to build some for the Thunder Mesa layout. Speaking of the Gruesome Gulch layout, I know a lot of you know that I'm planning to sell the layout eventually. And what I wanted to let everybody know is that I've actually decided to hang on to it, but not permanently. I'm going to hang on to it through Halloween of this year, so 6 months. And my rationale is that even though I've had a couple offers on it, is that I haven't had any time to enjoy it. It's kind of selfish, I know, but I've been working so much on it, building so much on it, that I haven't had time to just kick back and, hey, enjoy it. I'll be able to kick back and enjoy it at the thing in Riverside, but if everything works. if I'm not last minute underneath there on my belly, trying to fix stuff. But just take a little time to enjoy it, and also to let other people who would like to come here to my studio, to the open studios, and see it. So to have it on display for a while. So I thought I will have it on display here after Riverside. I'll have it on display up here, unless there's another show that comes up and I want to go to that. But I'll have it up here for all the first Saturdays through Halloween, at least, of this year. And then let the bidding begin on that. So that's the decision I reached recently. And I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with the way it's been going, and would like to spend a little time with it. Raging Dolphins Maniac asks, Gruesome Gulch does seem like a theme park ride. Did you ever work for Disney? I get accused of that all the time. No. And I can understand how people would get that impression. No, I never worked for Disney. I've never been an Imagineer. I've never worked for Walt Disney Imagineering. No. I've always been a freelancer. I've done a lot of freelance work all over the place for all different kinds of people, and I've worked with a lot of different people. I've worked with some Imagineers on a couple of different things, but I've never worked for Disney. And I kind of regret it a little, just a little bit, a little part of me. You know what I regret? I don't regret not working in Imagineering, because I don't do well in corporate environments. I don't play well with others. I'm very much a DIY, lone wolf kind of guy. I don't join clubs, and I don't do that kind of stuff. And I don't do well. And Disney is a big corporate environment. The thing I regret is not working at the park, because I lived right down the street, and all of my friends, a lot of my friends, worked at the park. I would have loved to have, if I could go back in time. I think it would have been fun for a little while to do that, but I was I had a mustache and long hair, and back in those days you couldn't get a job there with that. And I was like, I ain't cutting my hair, not for Disney. So, you know. Anyway. Hey, Route 9 Signs is hi, Chris. I'm glad you could make it. Thanks for showing up, man. My friend Chris is here from Route 9 Signs. Always nice to see all of your friendly faces. I love you too, Chris. Ryan Gallagher's here. Hi. Thank you guys for coming. Trisha Megs asks, what is the background music you use quite a bit, like in your latest video? One wonderful thing about YouTube, especially since they were bought out by Google, is the music library that they have. They have a vast, speaking of free stuff, I wouldn't say it's vast. It's actually kind of limited, to be honest. They have a pretty good library of, fortunately, they have a pretty good library of what I call American roots music, some people call bluegrass, country, acoustic, that kind of music. So all of the music that you hear in my videos comes from the YouTube audio library. You download them. If you have a YouTube channel, you can download these pieces of music, and they're created by people just like you and me who are into music and want their music to be heard, but they are a Creative Commons license, which means you can use them. Sometimes you have to give attribution to the artist. Sometimes they don't care. It just depends. That's where they all come from. So there's a lot of good stuff. And there are certain artists that have become my favorites. Dan Leibowitz is one. He's got a lot of great, wonderful acoustic guitar. Some of it's very moody, and then some great, really light and fun stuff with banjos. And I know some. I had a comment a couple of years ago, and it was one of those that stuck with me, which is like, "Hey man, I love your videos, but could you stop playing the hillbilly hoedown music?" or words to that effect. Maybe it was one of you guys. I don't know. It's like, what would you suggest? Norwegian death metal? I don't know. I mean, it's the Wild West. You're gonna be hearing some banjos, okay? And I liked banjo music before it was cool. Let's see. Macau Jobs, I rode Calico Mountain last Saturday. They may have updated a few things, but the kitsch is still strong. Yeah. I rode, if those of you who haven't ridden it since the Garner Holt update, Garner Holt is a former Imagineer. Actually, he's a current Imagineer. He just doesn't work for Imagineering. His company does all the animatronics and stuff, and they did a total retrofit on Calico Mountain and the log ride. God, it's been a while now. It's probably been 10 years or more. And they updated a lot of stuff. They updated the lighting and the sound and all that stuff. And the animatronics, they replaced the old like sawdust-filled dummies that they had, or mannequins in plaid shirts. And with very limited movement, they just go, stuff like that. So now they have some cool stuff in there, some cool animatronics and stuff. I actually prefer the redo they did on the log ride better. I thought that was, the story all comes together very nicely. I thought on Calico Mountain there's a few missed opportunities that for some good, I don't know, not comedy, but some good entertainment. There was a couple of missed opportunities there where they could have had something a little better. That said, it's a classic. I mean, it's Calico Mountain. I love it. How can you not? It's fantastic. Norman Rose says, "How can you sell one of your children?" Well, I've been both a commercial artist and a fine artist. I've kind of straddled the line between those worlds. I went back and forth. The reason I live in this part of the world is because I moved out to Sedona to pursue the dream of being a fine art. I was doing a lot of landscape painting and stuff like that, and cowboys and Indians and basically Western stuff. and went to a lot of art shows and sold a lot of paintings, sold a lot of prints, sold a lot of cards, all that kind of stuff. So you get used to it. You get used to it. You got to learn to let it go. As a very wise art teacher of mine once said, Dave, you can always do another painting, but you can't print your own money. It's just great advice. It's like, right. I can just keep doing this. And if people are willing to pay me to do this, that's great. If people are willing to pay me to do that, that's great. Well, yeah. So, and that's one of the things, is one of the reasons I want to keep it for a while, is so I can enjoy it for a while, and then I'll be ready to say, okay, I can let this go now. Especially the structures. I put in a lot of work on those structures, and I'm very happy with them. I'm very pleased with the way they turned out. So, I would like to look at them for a while. Yeah, Jim, you're right. You didn't work at the park because you had to cut your hair. Yes, timing is everything. Yeah, and a few years later, like, oh, you can have beards and long hair and tattoos and nose rings, whatever you want. Like, this was a long time ago. This was the 70s, so it was a very different time. Bob Ross is here from Beyond the Grave. Speaking of happy little trees, it's nice to see you, man. The log ride was closed and drained last week. Oh, that's too bad. That log ride is still the best one in the world, and I will fight anybody that argues with me on that. The log ride at Knott's Berry Farm is the best flume attraction ever made. End of story. No one has improved on it. Splash Mountain is great, not better. It's not better than the log ride. It's, for one thing, it's really long. It like goes on and on and on. Like when you think, oh, that's all. No, it just keeps going. It's a great ride. Norman says, well, as an artist, you probably could print your own money. I could, but stripes don't agree with me. I would not do well in prison. Let me back up here and see what else I've missed. We got off on a lot of tangents tonight. Let's see. Jogo, put me through college, worked the Matterhorn, Skyway, and Casey train. See, I would have loved to be a Jungle Cruise skipper. I think I would have been good at that. If I could go back in time. That would be the job. Of course, that's the job everyone wants at Disneyland, right? To be the funny guy. Yeah, if I could go, or to work on the train, which is the job that everyone really wants, and there's a waiting list that's a mile long to get into that job. Even Brett Iwan, the voice of Mickey Mouse, could not get a job on the Disneyland Railroad. He had to go to Knott's Berry Farm. That's where he got a job working on the railroad as a fireman. He could, the waiting list, it was like way too long. Somebody had to die, basically, for you to get a job on the Disneyland Railroad. TC Sammy, no, good call. Live passengers with a skeleton or two, maybe the crew. Yes, the crew, the locomotive crew, in this case, it's just one guy because it's a porter, is a skeleton. Will be skeletons in both of the porters that I have now. And watch for that in an upcoming video. Okay, let me get down. Let's see. John Lasseter was a Jungle Cruise skipper. Yeah, and look what happened to him. Sorry, too soon. Sorry. A lot of people were Jungle Cruise skippers. That's a cool job. I actually got to live out. I actually got to do something very similar when I was in Sedona. I did Jeep tours. Which is like the Jungle Cruise, except you're out in the Red Rocks, and so I just was like, I'd have a boatload of, I have a jeep load of people. We'd go out and I'd tell jokes and say, hey, look there, there's the backside of Thunder Mountain. You know how you can tell it's the backside? Because of that big crack right there. Yeah, those kind of jokes. And I'd like to point out some of these rocks. Well, there's one. There's one over there. That one's my favorite. Yeah. Very similar gig, except it was like, an hour long instead of 10 minutes. Yes, the Gruesome Gulch excursion cars have brake wheels. Who turns them? That's part of the mystery. No one turns them. There's no stopping on Gruesome Gulch. We just keep going. Edgar Allan Poe and the Raven would be a great scene in Gruesome Gulch. Who does a Poe figure? I guess I could paint one with his hair. Who would get it though? You have a raven on his shoulder. I got a lot of ravens already. And every time I put ravens on the layout, someone says, you should add buzzards. And every time I add buzzards to the layout, someone says, you should do ravens. They're both there. There's lots of birds. What is the opening in the front of Gruesome Gulch for? You mean the little access? Here, let me point over. Well, that's an access panel. That's actually going to be covered by a piece of decorative wood molding. Is going to cover that, and it's going to be held in place by magnets. That's so I can access the back side of the lower loop and clean the track, and if the train gets stuck, and run the wiring and all that kind of stuff. It's just an access panel, and it's going to have a brass handles on it. So it's going to be part of the casket look for the thing. But yeah, that's just an access panel. I thought about scenicking it. I thought about adding scenery in there, making it like another cave that it's going through. It's like, and I might at some point. If I'm going to keep it for another 6 months, I might do that. But no, for now, it's just going to have a panel in front of it. And I've decided that a lot of people that see the layout don't necessarily know that it's a coffin right away. They don't get it because they don't see it from up above. They see it from like eye level. So they don't understand that it's coffin shaped. And I think that putting some brass handles on there will really go a long way for them to, oh, it's a coffin. Okay, yeah. You live and learn. You figure out how to tell the story as you go. Oh, never more. I should have crows. Crows would just be, I would just order some HO scale or S scale ravens from many prints and call them crows. Am I bringing Grizzly Gulch? You mean Gruesome Gulch to the open house? Yes, I am. Ryan Gallagher says, hackles are the handles on a coffin. Is that the proper nomenclature? I did not know that. It's called a hackle. And there's the hangy downy handles. See? I learned something at every one of these live streams. That's why I do them. That's great. Let's see. D.L. Hemingway. Another idea on the Rio Frontera steam launch, named the Desert Queen, with the pilot painted to resemble Humphrey Bogart as Oh, from the African Queen? Yeah, I need a little steam launch like that, like the Jungle Cruise size boat. I don't know where I'd put it though. There's not enough room in the river. The river's already crowded. I've got the Canyon Queen. I've got Tom Sawyer's raft, or Huck and Tom's raft, and there's going to be a keel boat too. I want to have a keel boat and some canoes hanging out along there, and that's a project for later this year, I think. Yes, Gruesome. I'll be the hacklebearer. I'll be your hackleberry. Really, hacklebearer was supposed to be the line in Tombstone? I wonder if that's true. And Val Kilmer just said, Huckleberry, I'll be your Huckleberry. That's just my game. Great movie. My friend Jake Johnson was in the movie Tombstone. That's my, I was close enough to touch somebody who was actually in that movie. He's not here right now, but he was in it, and his part got cut. But he is writing in some of the scenes in the beginning, I think. Will there be other new layouts at the open house, and will someone be live streaming it again? I really enjoyed that. There will be other new layouts. I think there's 12. I think there's going to be 12 mini layouts. I have no idea where Gary's going to put them all. I know where mine is going. I don't know where everybody else's is going. Yeah, there's going to be 12. As for the live stream, should I live stream it? Should I live stream it, or should I do a wrap-up video where it's just, because one year I live streamed it, and the year before that I did a wrap-up video, and that's all edited and polished and nice. Both. Okay, we'll do both. Well, my only concern is I'm going to be running the Gruesome Gulch layout, so it'll only take a minute. It is fun to go around and talk to everybody, and I have the gimbal now, so I'll make sure it's charged for that. So we'll do that. I'll try to do a live stream. I'm not going to guarantee it, but if it works out to do it, because I've got to piggyback on Gary's internet, I've got to get permission from him to do that. So if I can do it, I will. Just got time for a couple more questions, comments, criticisms, critiques, unsolicited art direction, whatever you got. You're going to be doing a YouTube video from the open house? Cool. That makes two of us. Absolutely live stream, fun and loose. Jim, actually, here's what you could do. You can run the Gruesome Gulch while I do the live stream. How's that? I'll put you in charge of it temporarily. I will promote you to engineer. Yeah, just for that. Yeah, it's gonna get crowded. And after I get home, edit the live stream video. I'll probably do that. I'll probably do both. I know I'll shoot a lot of B-roll while I'm there, and because when you're doing a live stream, it is fast and loose, and you're talking to people, and it's fun and all that. But you don't always get to focus on all the cool details and stuff. So I'll go and I'll do a lot of B-roll. I'll shoot a lot of that, and then we'll have that, and we'll edit all that together into a wrap-up video of the mini Festa Fiesta. And at the end, we'll see if Gary ever wants to do one again. So, yeah, well, we got kind of off topic, but that's okay. We got it out of the way. We talked about where to get stuff and, where to find stuff. And once again, if you guys have any suggestions that I didn't mention, we covered Hobby Lobby and stuff like that. But, hard to find stuff. Put it down in the comments below and share with everybody, because that's what's great about this hobby. It's, we get to share back and forth, learn from each other. Hello, Bob. Oh, you want me to bring a ukulele? We can do a little tropical serenade while we're there. Scott is bringing his bongos. Bongos? Oh, God. Carter the drummer. He's bringing his bongos. Okay, if he's bringing his bongos, I'm bringing a ukulele. Dave Miller, do you ever mess around with N scale anymore? It could happen. I'll never say never. It's possible. Not right now. I mean, I dismantled all the N scale stuff I had, and I gave most of it to my son, but he's like 16 now and doesn't play with any of it anymore. So, it could, it's possible. Maybe I would do a project layout in N scale. Would that blow people's minds? What do you think? Do like a door layout? I've got several track plans for door layouts. In fact, I did one called the Jerome N Southwestern, which is based on John Olson's Jerome and Southwestern, which he built in HO scale. And I thought, ooh, that would be fun to do in N scale. I ain't committing to anything. I'm just thinking out loud right now. Yeah, I've been accused of being an N scale hater, and that's not true. I started out in N scale, so that's, it's always possible. When will your stucco product be back in stock? It has been discontinued, as has Crescent Creek Models. I am no longer involved with Crescent Creek Models. Here's the thing about the scale stucco, and I'll tell you this right now. I'll give you a trade secret. It is acrylic modeling paste. Any acrylic modeling paste you get will work the same as scale stucco. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it from Blake Art Materials. You can find it at a local art supply store that's well stocked. You can find acrylic modeling paste, matte, not gloss, matte. That's what you want, and it'll work exactly the same way as the scale stucco does. So there you go, a little trade secret for you. Okay, one more and we're done. Looking at my Tonto and su dinero. Yeah, I like that one too. Tanto y su dinero. Tanto y su dinero means a fool and his money. For those of you who don't know, that's what that means. All the professional art supply stores in your area. Yeah, I know. It's the same thing with hobby shops. Well, guys, with that, we bring it full circle. Yes, art supply stores are closing down, along with bookshops and hobby shops, and that's a sad thing. But if you are resourceful and know how to Googles, you can find most stuff without too much trouble, and they deliver it to your door. Unless you don't want to feed the hydra that is Amazon, which I can't help you there. That's a personal choice. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for smashing that like button. Thanks for tuning in to the live streams. I love these. I love hanging out with you guys and chatting and talking trains and shooting the bull. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy these. I hope you do too. I hope you got something good out of it. And until next time, what do we say? Keep moving forward, my friends, and adios for now.